Welcome back to Simply Living It for another video. Today I want to talk about something that I've seen kind of a common theme or a common thread of over on Instagram in the comments that you mamas put in the bottom of a video here on YouTube. When you sweet homeschool mamas reach out and have questions and concerns and just want advice or someone to say, I agree, I understand, I've been there, whatever that is, the common theme or common question that I get a lot of is, my kids don't love learning. I have so many moms reach out and say my kids just aren't excited. They would rather do a million other things than sit down and do math or sit down and read or sit down and do whatever it is the day has lined out. My kids just don't love learning. I hear that so much. And I think truly this is just a conversation maybe that we need to have. It's a realization for me. This whole topic helped me to deep dive into a few things in our home and in our homeschool and my mindset as a homeschool mom. So that's today's video. Let's talk about it. If your kids don't love learning, or so you think, let's talk about it. I'll tell you, I think it can be a huge misconception, and some kids genuinely love sitting down and learning. Some kids love to come out and see what you've set out for the day and dive into the books and dive into the lessons and do all the things, and they love it and they soak it up. Some kids love to sit and color and do artwork and be creative and do crafts, and other kids don't. And so I think we're doing a disservice in a sense, not only to ourselves, but to our kids when we're like, well, they just don't love learning. Because I want to open your eyes to something a little bit and just share my experience as a homeschool mom for 13 years, right? I have 3 boys, almost 17, 15, and 12-year-old. And we've been homeschooling from the very beginning with the exception of 6 weeks. So if you're new, we've been homeschooling basically all along. And I will say that when my kids were younger, yes, they did really enjoy doing the crafts and the painting and the art projects and stuff like that. Now it looks different. And I have caught myself in that trap many times saying, my kids don't love learning. My kids just don't love it. Like, my kids don't love to just sit and do homeschool lessons. They don't. And so if you're a mom out there whose kids are the same, they would rather be doing a million other things than sitting inside homeschooling, this video is for you. Some kids love it. Some kids genuinely love to sit and to learn what we have as far as math and science and a foreign language, and the world is your oyster on the limits of that. I will tell you what this opened my eyes to, because I had that lie repeating in my head, because that's what it is. The lie is that my kids, talking about me, my kids don't love learning. That's a lie, because my kids do love learning when it's interest led, when it's something they are interested in. They don't love to come sit and do math. They just don't. My kids are not. Do they do it? Yes. Sometimes is it like, oh, here we go again? Yes. But we've been doing it long enough now that my kids just know what they need to do. They know they have to do it. They know they don't have a choice. Like, this is our lifestyle and this is what we're doing. So you have to do your lessons. It's just part of life. But I will tell you, they love learning when it's something they're interested in. They do. They want to learn it. When it comes to going outside and doing a craft, as far as their craft being, I'm going to build a bike jump, I'm going to use the chop saw, I'm going to draw up some plans, and I'm going to make a jump for my bicycle for the neighbor boy and I to jump our bicycles on. My kids love that. When it comes to working on a project, troubleshooting something on their pickup, troubleshooting something on their dirt bike or on a snowmobile, or going out and building something for the goats, like learning that, my kids love it. They'll come in and pull up YouTube videos and learn how to rewire different light switches or put in a whole new radio in their pickup and rewire that. And they love it. They love doing that. They love going out and learning a new type of skill with fishing. They love going out and hunting. That's learning. And they love it. My oldest doesn't necessarily love sitting and doing his college course for his electrical apprenticeship, but he loves what he's learning. My kids didn't love necessarily sitting and doing the driver's ed book, but they knew the outcome. They knew once we finished this online course, like, they were encouraged. They were self-motivated because then they got to drive. So I feel like I don't know about you, but this was eye-opening for me just to tackle this conversation. And I did a poll over on YouTube, or on Instagram actually. I put a poll out and I'm like, okay, moms, these discussions need to happen. Tell me right now how many of your kids love learning. Like, I only left 2 categories, and I know there's a lot of gray area, which is what I'm hoping to bring to the table, is changing that mindset of my kids just don't like learning. My kids don't want to do their schoolwork. My eyes had to be open to the fact that there's so many different types of learning, and I know that, and I've shared that with you from the beginning of my YouTube channel, that I'm all about the eclectic style of homeschooling. We do all things. My kids have learned so much this last year being in this house that we are renovating on our own, learning how to tile, learning how to do plumbing, learning how to put in toe kick lighting, learning how to put in new recess cans, learning how to, the opportunities are endless and have been endless because we've done everything here ourselves with the exception of installing countertops, like building cabinets, putting hardware on the cabinet drawers. There's so much stuff that they have learned through that, and they enjoyed the process. But sitting and doing a math lesson, they don't love it. They would rather do a million things other than math. But do we do it? Yes, we do, because we need to. So not all learning is always going to be something that we love, but when there is that interest, then you see that. I myself have taken up a course that at some point I'll share with you all. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how the Lord is going to use it at this point or where I am called to be in it, but I have taken up a course that's a 90-hour course, and it's broken into 2 different modules. I don't love sitting and going through all of it. Some of it's super interesting, but some of it is boring. And I'm like, when am I ever going to use this, right? I was public schooled in high school. I can't tell you how many times the topic of conversation, even from my teachers, was like, I can't tell you when you're going to use this, but you need to know it. Okay, well, same. I'm excited and motivated to get my course done because I know what comes at the end of it. So I'm doing it. Do I love it? No. Are there other things I would rather be doing? Yes. And I think that we're just doing ourselves and our kids a disservice when we can generalize that statement, that lie of my kids don't love learning. Because the world is so vast and so different, and personalities and homeschool styles and children and different things that you might be working with your children. There will be, in case you didn't know, if you're new to this, or maybe this hasn't been your reality, maybe you have children who genuinely love waking up every day and doing their school, and I believe that, and I know there are families out there like that. I know there are children who wake up, they're like, what are we doing today? I know boys and girls can be very different too in that. And so I have all boys. This is my experience homeschooling 3 boys, that it can be very different. And there's a million things they would love to go do outside or in our home, or build and create and make and rewire and project together and research on YouTube videos. How do I fix that? How do I change a U-joint? These are things that they're learning and they love it. But are they loving necessarily that every day we're going to sit and do read aloud? We're going to sit and do a science lesson. We're going to sit and do a math lesson. They don't love that. And I think that's okay. So if you needed to be reminded that it's okay that they don't love it, and that it's okay that there's hard days, because there will forever be hard days, no matter how many years you've homeschooled. There will be hard days, and there will be beautiful days, and there will be days that you want to give up, and there will be days that this is the greatest gift ever. Like, there will be days now and forever with homeschooling, and they will all look different. But I just want to encourage you and remind you, the results of this poll, there was like 8% of you that said, yes, my kids genuinely love learning. And the rest of you said no, but we get through. So let that sink in. Now, my audience over on Instagram is pretty small. It's like 1,500 followers, maybe, something. Like, I'm not super active over there. Most of my audience is here, so I probably should take a poll here on my channel also. But just in the scope of that many people, let's say 500 people voted, that many moms are saying, no, my kids are not. They don't love to sit down and do bookwork. And that's what the poll was. Do your kids love to sit down and do math? Not extracurriculars. Extracurriculars don't count. But the everyday stuff that you put out for them, before them, do they genuinely love it? Some moms said yes. Some had some gray area in there, which is to be expected. Some days it goes great and they love it. Some days they hate it. It's like pulling teeth. Some days we're coming back from a break and it's miserable and hard. Some days we're encouraged because we're back from break and then it kind of wears off. There's so many variables. So I just felt like this conversation needed to be had, me sharing my experience with you guys, but also like collectively as a group of homeschool moms coming together and saying, yeah, it does look different. My kids don't love it. But guess what? It's okay that they don't love it. We're not going to always love every single thing that we have to do in life, but we have to do it. There are subjects that I've told my kids, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be the most fun thing you've ever done, but you need to know it. Co-op, my boys did a class last year that was anatomy and physiology, and it was an intense course. There was a lot of homework. It was intense. It was really, really, really well done. It was incredible. It was such a blessing for my boys to be able to be in that course. Did they love the homework and the extra reading at home? No. But is it stuff that I wanted them to go through and to know? Yeah. So it's the realization that you're not going to love everything that you do. You're not going to love every single thing that is learning. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging sometimes, but you have to do it. It's just the way it is. That's life. We're not going to love everything about life, and we're doing our kids a disservice and ourselves if we're truly beating ourselves up because we think we're doing something wrong because our kids don't love everything we set out for them. They're not going to. They're not going to love everything. So can we let that lie go and accept and realize that it's going to look different for every home, for every family. Some days will be great, some days will be hard. Accept what is in your home. Be encouraged. Thank you for being here. Share your experience, your comments in the description box down below. I'd love to hear from you, and share this with a mom who might need to hear some encouraging words as well. We'll talk to you next time.